As a physician, anybody here ever try to convince a doctor about the water? We're not stubborn, are we? Anybody dealt with a skeptic? Has anybody dealt with a critic? I was somewhere between a cynic and an opponent. I have made the position and clearly stated that alkaline water didn't work, that it was a fraud. And the reason that I had done that was because on May 28th of 2009, I got enrolled in the School of Hard Knocks. Gastroschisis is a short gut syndrome where basically your insides are on your outsides. This is not, there we go, Skylar. She is the most amazing person I've ever met in my life. She was born inside out. Everything from her stomach had gotten hung up on the outside. And her intestines, liver, pancreas, spleen, large intestine, small intestine, right ovary, bowel, were all on the outside. And when you think things can't get worse, the intestines burst. They did 8 weeks on a colostomy, 8 weeks reversing it, getting the bowels try to work. Lexi is probably the best big sister in the world because every day she'd go to the hospital. We spent a year at Scottish Rite's Children's Hospital in Atlanta. I can get you any floor, any department on my cell phone. They knew us very, very well. And then when things started to get better, it makes a beautiful child. We talk about dehydration like it's some slow process or it's some insignificant thing. You go from this to this in hours. According to what the doctors that you're talking to know, you get most of your water through the bowel. When the bowel shuts down, everything goes wrong. We went numerous times to Scottish Rite, and I'd say, it's Michael, I've got Skylar, she's in acute dehydration. And when you go to a children's hospital and all 4 emergency room doctors and the whole staff surround your table, and they leave the lady at check-in, it's a bad day. She got better. They ended up putting this thing that's called a Mickey button. It's not a Disney souvenir, it's a port in her intestines. That port was on a continuous force feed. That means she was fed 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And every morning when we woke up, just imagine what comes out the other end and is dripping across the beds, the pillows, the stuffed animals, the floor. And you took a shower with that to rinse her off every day. The water had an impact on me that you can't even imagine. So because of this, I wanted to find out the best way to hydrate. I looked up every kind of water alkalizer, ionizer, you name it. I've used the Jupiter, the Melody, the Microlite, the Royal, the Aqualive, the Valera, the Ion. And they had abysmal results. And I concluded that basically it was a scam and it didn't really work. I can explain to you the research why the stomach neutralizes the pH and why it can create calcification. What I can't explain to you is why in 6 months I got this on Kangen water. Now, a little more background. Bless Amy Tyler's heart, because she walked into the office of an opponent and a cynic that was extremely well educated and wrong. I actually tried the water under duress. We had 6 or 7 people come into our office and try to pitch it to us. And honestly, we have so many people trying to pitch us so many things, it gets annoying. And I had tried all the water ionizers, and I knew. And we had some tests run. Long story short, Skylar was in failure to thrive, hemorrhaging from the bowel, unknown bleeding, anemia, you name it, it was a bad day. And she's laying on the table as I get this phone call. And so as a chiropractor, you know how we adjust your neck, right? I'm trying to regroup from this note, and Amy pops up and goes, Dr. Michael, Skylar doesn't need to suffer because you're too stubborn to try the water. I'll give it to you for free. I finally turned around and said, okay. In my mind, I was like, God, she's here for this, so it means something. I'm going to sit down, but I'm standing up on the inside. I said, fine, Amy, I am done. Now, you got to understand, she was a pharmaceutical rep. She read Guyton's Book of Medical Physiology. She came in and said, I understand the pH thing. I don't know why it works, but it does. I'm like, what are you going to do? She just... So I'll try your water, and then I'll run the tests, and I will prove to you that you are wrong, that I am right, and then you have to promise never to bring it up again. She's like, fine. So that was a Thursday. We had the water Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday morning rolled around. Now you got to understand, with a Mickey button, all this distension, gas, cramping, crying at night, bowel sounds, just the gurgling, can't imagine. Amy? Yeah, it's Dr. Michael. Yeah, I'm having crow for breakfast. I need more water to wash it down. All of that was gone. Now, was it just the water? We were doing everything. We were doing nutrition, detox, foot baths, all that stuff. No, she wasn't doing just the water. But the water was a critical piece.